You know, they say the truth is stranger than fiction, but when it comes to cheating husbands, the excuses can be a whole lot funnier. Picture this, a husband caught in the act, red-handed, with his secretary. The wife walks in, shock written all over her face, and the husband, quick on his feet, blurts out, "Oh darling, it's not what it looks like. We're just rehearsing for a play." Now that's a plot twist even Shakespeare would be proud of. The wife, not born yesterday and certainly not in the mood for theatre, raises an eyebrow, her disbelief as clear as a sunny day. But rather than launching into an angry tirade, she decides to play along with his farce. "A play, you say?" she retorts, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Well then, it would be a shame if your talent went unnoticed. I think I'll start selling tickets for your next performance." Suddenly, our cheating husband finds himself in the spotlight, quite literally. His secret rendezvous, now the hottest ticket in town. His private affairs, a public spectacle. The wife, now the producer of this tragicomedy, watches as her husband squirms under the unexpected attention. And just like that, a simple excuse turns into a hilarious anecdote. A story to be shared over coffee, a tale to be told at parties. The husband, now infamous for his theatrical pursuits, has become the butt of jokes in the neighborhood. His excuse, a punchline that never gets old. And the wife? Well, she gets the last laugh. She turned her husband's betrayal into a source of amusement, a way to cope with the pain. She may not have stopped the cheating, but she certainly made sure her husband paid the price for his infidelity. So the next time you think of cheating, remember our hapless husband. Remember his ill-timed play and his unexpected audience. Remember that excuses may save you in the moment, but they can also turn your life into a comedy of errors. And that, folks, is how helping with a play became synonymous with sleeping on the couch. And from the land of baguettes and berets, we have the story of Pierre, who had a very unique approach. Now, Pierre was a man who had a way with words, a certain je ne sais quoi, if you will. When he was caught in a rather compromising position with a woman who was decidedly not his wife, he had to think on his feet. And boy, did he come up with a doozy. You see, Pierre claimed that he was undercover for the French Secret Service, and the lady in question was simply a contact. Yes, you heard that right. According to Pierre, he was just doing his civic duty, protecting the great nation of France. He tried to convince his wife that the rendezvous was all part of an elaborate ruse to ensnare some international villain. His wife Marie was understandably skeptical. After all, Pierre was a baker by trade. The only secret missions he'd ever been on involved sneaking a croissant before breakfast, but Pierre, ever the charmer, stuck to his story. He claimed that his baker persona was the perfect cover. Who would suspect the man kneading dough all day of international espionage? Marie, however, was not one to be easily fooled. She decided to play along with Pierre's charade, but with a twist. She sent him on a secret mission to the doghouse. Yes, Pierre was banished to the backyard, with only the family poodle for company. Marie left him out there until he came clean about his indiscretions. And let's just say that Pierre's stay in the doghouse was longer than any mission he'd ever been on. So, the moral of the story, folks. No matter how creative your excuse may be, a lie is a lie. And when you're caught, you'd better be ready to face the music. Or in Pierre's case, the doghouse. Remember, folks, not all heroes wear capes. Some wear the stench of perfume and a guilty expression. Moving on, let's delve into the digital age with a husband who thought he'd outsmart his wife with some tech-savvy tricks. Now, as we know, the rise of technology has given us many things. It's given us the ability to keep in touch with loved ones across the globe, the power to learn anything at any time, and the platform to share cat videos with the world. However, it also gave one husband the audacity to blame his infidelity on a glitch in the Matrix. This is the tale of a man who thought he could outwit his wife by using the language of the digital age to his advantage. His plan? To convince his wife that the romantic messages she found on his phone were nothing more than a system error. Yes, folks, he tried to convince his wife that his phone had somehow developed its own romantic inclinations and was sending out love notes on its own. Now, the wife, being a woman of the 21st century, was no stranger to technology. She was well aware that phones don't develop feelings, and they certainly don't send out romantic messages without human input. So she decided to give her husband a taste of his own medicine. She looked him straight in the eyes and told him that he was right. It was a glitch. But the glitch wasn't in the phone, it was in their marriage. And like any good tech-savvy person, She knew that the best way to fix a glitch was to reboot the system. So she promptly rebooted her husband right to the living room couch for some serious debugging. And so, the husband learned a valuable lesson that day. A lesson about honesty, respect, and the fact that not all glitches can be fixed with a simple reboot. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you should never underestimate the power of a good system update. Now brace yourselves for an excuse that's truly out of this world. In the vast realm of marital misadventures, we've stumbled upon an alibi so ludicrous, it's hard to believe it didn't come from a sci-fi film. Picture this: a husband, caught in an incriminating situation with a mysterious woman, attempts to wiggle his way out of trouble by claiming she's not a woman at all, but an extraterrestrial being in disguise. Yes, you heard it right. He insisted that this alleged femme fatale was a visitor from another galaxy, conducting research for her home planet. Her mission? To understand the intricacies of human relationships. Apparently, she needed to study him up close. Very, very close. As you'd expect, his wife was not amused. She didn't buy this far-fetched explanation for a moment. In fact, she found it so absurd that she decided to give him exactly what he wanted: space. Not the kind that spans light years and is filled with stars, but the kind that exists between the master bedroom and the spare room. She told him, "If you're so interested in extraterrestrial life, why don't you spend some time orbiting the spare room?" And with that, she banished him to the confines of an earthbound space station, complete with a single bed and a view of the backyard. And there he remained, in the isolation of his makeshift cosmos, contemplating the gravity of his ill-conceived excuse. It's one thing to stretch the truth a bit in a tight spot, but to invoke intergalactic diplomacy, that's a new level of desperation. So, what's the moral of this cosmic comedy? Well, it seems that when it comes to maintaining trust in a relationship, honesty remains the best policy. After all, even in the face of the most creative excuses, the truth has a way of shining through, brighter than the most distant star. So remember, if your partner starts talking about little green women, it might be time for a reality check. Well, folks, we've laughed, we've gasped, and we've delved into the ridiculous world of cheating husbands and their outlandish excuses. From the ludicrous to the laughable, we've seen it all. Let's take a walk down memory lane, shall we? We kicked off with the perfect excuse, a husband who claimed he was practicing for a secret surprise salsa dance for his wife. It was all fun and games until his wife showed up at the dance studio. The only salsa he ended up dancing was the one his wife made him do around their living room, dodging flying objects. Then we hopped on a plane to experience the international incident. Remember that husband who claimed he was at a boring business meeting in France, only for his wife to spot him in the background of a beach party live stream in Ibiza? Oh, how his business trip turned into a vacation nightmare. Moving on to the technological tangle, we met the husband who swore he was just testing a virtual reality game for his tech company. That game, however, involved a suspiciously realistic virtual date. His wife was not impressed. His tech excuse crashed faster than his company's stock prices. And who could forget our journey to outer space with the extraterrestrial excuse? The husband who claimed he was abducted by aliens and his extraterrestrial captors forced him to cheat. His wife, quick on her feet, quipped back, "Did they also force you to forget your wedding vows?" From salsa dancing in secret studios to interstellar infidelity, these husbands have taken us on quite a ride. Their creativity knows no bounds, and neither does the wit and resilience of their wives. So, remember, honesty is always the best policy, but if you're going to lie, at least make it a good one. Or you might just find yourself on the next Cheating Husbands episode.